So I'm told that some of the videos that you guys like the best of mine are the ones where I'm just kind of talking. And I don't have any script and I don't have any article that I'm responding to and I say what's on my mind. And so it's been a while since I've done one of those. I think the last one I did was on election day, or the day after election day when I was in that swimming pool, and I will never do one of those in my bathing suit again. I promise you that. But I thought it was time for another one, not just because I don't really have any news stories today that are particularly overtly compelling to me, but because okay, so here's what I want to talk about this in this video. I want to talk about depression. I want to talk about disillusionment. And then I want to end on some hope. I'm going to end on a high note. We're going to go down into the valley at first. And then I'm going to try my very best to end on a high note because I really do believe there is always hope in these situations. But I want to start off on probably the lowest note, which is depression. I took the weekend off, and the reason I took the weekend off is because I'm not feeling good. I'm not. And I'm not just talking about like I'm feeling down or I'm feeling sad. I'm actually starting to show signs of like clinical depression. And I know that because I have gone through periods in my life where I have been depressed. Like I'm not eating. I really am very lethargic. I really don't want to do anything. I feel like I'm kind of like almost disassociated from reality, to be honest. And I know this enough to be able to, I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me. That's not what I want. I know enough to be able to do what I can to like nip it in the bud and turn things around. And so I'm very consciously aware of what's going on. I think that this is usually a problem when you're not consciously aware of it and you just kind of sink into it and you don't do anything to try to turn things around. I am consciously aware of it. I wasn't going to talk about it in public though, because like, why? But I decided to because last night I had a Zoom call with my locals community. Now, I do Zoom calls twice a week with my locals community. They're like 2 hours long. Actually, last night's was like 2.5 hours long. And it's basically just a whole bunch of us get together and we jump on a Zoom and we talk about issues and we talk about what's going on in our lives. And we talk about things we're thinking about, things we're concerned about. And last night, when I got on the call, what I heard over and over and over again is I'm depressed. So I know it's not just me. It's not everyone in the world, but I know it's not just me. There's a bunch of people in my locals that are feeling the same thing. And the reason I want to talk about it publicly is not because I want sympathy or not because it's like the easiest thing to do. Because guys, let me tell you, like I don't like showing vulnerability in public. But I want to talk about it in public because I know that if I'm experiencing it and people in my community are, then many of you probably are as well. And if that's happening with you, if you're feeling depressed right now, if there's stuff going on, first I want to tell you that this is like, there's nothing wrong with this. I think that all things considered for where a lot of us are at, it's almost completely understandable. And I'm going to talk about why in a second. I also want to encourage you to like, don't ignore this. If this is what you're feeling, you've got to do stuff to help yourself. Like if you aren't going to do it, no one's going to do it for you. Because it is a fixable problem. Whatever you need to do along the various spectrum, you have to figure that out in your own life. But I guess I just want to encourage you to say that if you're feeling this too, it's okay. It's okay. I understand why. I think for me, why I'm experiencing it right now is not just that it's winter and it's dreary anyway, but for me, the COVID lockdowns, I haven't traveled in a couple months. I was traveling every single week. I was getting out there. I was doing stuff. I know a lot of you haven't been, but for me, it's like the COVID lockdowns make everything seem so pointless. Like I don't want to put on a mask, which means I don't really leave my house all that much. And, even if I were to leave my house, like, what would I really do? Like, there's nothing to do. And I live in New Hampshire. There wasn't a lot to do to begin with, but now there's like really nothing to do. So I think that's contributing to it. But I think more so for me, what is happening for me is kind of the next topic, which is I'm getting very, 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 very disillusioned. I'm getting disillusioned with just the reality that we're in. It's not about Biden necessarily. I don't think that Biden is like the worst thing that's ever happened, but what it feels like to me is that things are just spinning so much out of control, and it's almost to the point where I feel like, can we even turn this around? Is it even possible? I just don't know that it is anymore. I told you I was going to save hope for the end, so don't give up too soon, but I want to talk about why I believe that. Listen, this is Black History Month just started. Black Lives Matter has this curriculum that they put into all these schools. Like, teacher training programs are requiring that teachers go through critical race theory training. You have families that are reticent to pull their kids out of school. Honestly, like, homeschooling your kids is probably only the real option that people have right now. School choice maybe could help if that gets passed in enough places, but I don't know how to deal with the educational system. I don't know how to fix that. I almost think the educational system has gotten to the point where it's unfixable. It's unfixable. You have an entire pipeline of teachers that have been tainted by this. You have teachers that are I've been watching these teacher critical race theory trainings. I've been watching a bunch of them. It's not good, guys. And these are required courses for teachers to complete. We have school systems all over the country that are forcing their teachers into this, that are changing their curriculum to include all this critical race theory nonsense. It's like almost like you don't have anywhere to go. We have kids that are learning at home that are not having the social interaction that they're used to. Many of them aren't even doing well in school anymore, aren't even learning the subject matter because of how it's being taught. And that's like a whole other wrench in the works. So the school system is basically effed. It takes a generation to fix that. That's not a quick fix. I don't know any other solution for it, but to pull your kids out of school, to start homeschooling, to work at like hell to pass school choice. But even if you pass school choice, it's going to be like a state issue probably. And, you know, who knows where that goes. Then we also have what's going on with the government with, you know, Biden has obviously rescinded Trump's executive orders around critical race theory and not allowing them in federal government contractors. But it's even worse than that, because I have evidence to show that not only is, I have a friend that works in the federal government, and what they've told me is that the memos are already coming down. And she actually just sent me something that I have to look at. She's told me that the memos are coming down that not only are federal contractors now allowed to do the critical race theory training again, but that is probably going to end up being a requirement. Think about that for a second. A requirement to get a federal government contract is going to be that you subject your employees to this type of training. So education's gone. Corporate America's gone. At least anyone that wants that sweet, sweet federal money. And the worst thing of all is that people just aren't really interested in fighting back against this. Everyone's scared. I know so many people who tell me that, you know, Carlin, my coworkers come up to me, and even the people of color, and they tell me that they think this is all nonsense, but no one wants to speak up. Well, if you aren't going to speak up, then what do you expect to happen? Or some people, and I don't even know how this happens really, some people are still convinced that it's not going to impact their lives. Of course it's going to. It's going to impact everyone's life at some point. If it hasn't hit you yet, it's going to. But what really is disillusioning me about this entire situation is not the practicality of like, how do we fix education? How do we fix the work environment? How do we teach people what this stuff is? I think that those could be fixable. I do. I'm working on some things for that right now. I've got a whole project that I've been working on behind the scenes that will get launched at some point when I'm ready for it. But what's even more disillusioning for me right now is watching what's happening to the right. Because the left already sucked. I left the left for a reason. The left already sucked. The left was a place where if you didn't walk in lockstep with them and do what they wanted you to do and say what they wanted you to say, there was always going to be a little bit of punishment. It has no wiggle room for alternative ideas, different points of view. And now I see the same thing happening to the right. I see exactly the same thing happening to the right. Where it's becoming more, what's becoming more important is tribal warfare. Is people fighting and doing it in just a really, 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 really dehumanized way. Listen, let's take the example that I've been dealing with all morning. Let's talk about AOC for a second. Now, I don't like AOC. I think AOC is whiny. I think she's a brat. I think her policies are stupid. I think that she is not the smartest cookie in the world, not the brightest crayon in the box, if you will. I think there are a lot of things to criticize her about. And I've spent the entire morning arguing on Twitter defending her because the thing that people feel like criticizing her about the most is, you know, trauma as a result of a supposed assault that happened. And that's the thing they're latching onto. That's the thing. And that's the thing that they're so passionate and arguing about. And saying, oh, women are liars and they're manipulative liars. And I'm just like, you know what? You have about 8,000 things that you can criticize this woman for. And you're choosing the one thing that you probably shouldn't be broaching if you're a decent human being. I think back to when Trump got coronavirus and oh my God, was the left excited about this? You guys remember this? They were so excited, like Trump was going to die from COVID. Oh my God, it was going to be the best retribution ever. And he didn't, of course, because he's Trump and he bounced right back. But that was what they were all excited about. And we looked at them and we were like, you're wishing death on a human. You understand? You're wishing death on a human being. Dude, you're literally wishing death on a human being. Like, get a grip. What's so different about AOC? Listen, the right hates AOC just as much as the left hates Trump. What's so different? The side you're on? You say, Carlin, she's really manipulative. Well, guess what, guys? That's how they feel about Trump. So are we interested in trying to be decent human beings? Are we interested in tribal warfare? Are we interested in fighting on exactly the same way? I cannot tell you how many DMs I have in my inbox on Twitter right now from people saying, I'm starting to not be able to distinguish the right from the left. That's the truth. I've kind of been saying this since the election, and it's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And for someone like me, I walked away from the left for a reason. I didn't walk away to join a new tribe on the right that was going to act exactly like the left. And now, and I know this is true of a lot of people that are in my locals. I suspect this is true of a lot of walkaways. You know, maybe I should even hang on. I'll do a quick wardrobe change because I know this is true of a lot of walkaways. Is that I felt politically homeless before, and I kind of found a little bit of a home on the right because they were the side that was more open and more accepting of different points of view. Dude, since the election, it's like crashed down to planet Earth for me. I have no use for people on the right that are, first off, I have no use for a lot of the old school Republicans anyway. Like, Mitch McConnell can go F himself. Liz Cheney, the same thing. I'm not really on board with most, like, I like some of them. I like Matt Gaetz. I like Rand Paul. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene is wacky. And I don't like some of her beliefs, and I really wish she hadn't made some of the videos that she made. I do, but at least I like that she's a fighter, right? But most of them I really have no use for. Now my hat's all crooked. I don't know. There we go. But a lot of them I really have no use for. And so do I have a home there? I don't think so. I thought maybe I could. I thought I did, but then they all started abandoning their own base. Even Ted Cruz, who I had given so many points for like half an hour. I was almost like, oh my God, do I really like Ted Cruz? And then Ted Cruz abandoned it too the other day. So I don't have a place on the left. I don't have a place on the right. and the woke is crashing down around me. So for me, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm not one that I just like to complain about things. I actually like to do things to fix problems. And I don't even know where to turn. And I don't feel as though I have any allies, because the minute that I say something that people on I want to call it like the post-Trump right, the minute I say something like, you know what, we probably shouldn't be attacking women who are talking about their assault, we probably shouldn't be doing that, they're like, you were never on our side in the first place, you were a traitor. Like, okay. So I'm feeling depressed, I'm feeling disillusioned, I'm feeling overwhelmed with what's going on in the world. But I think there's always hope. Like, I haven't totally blackpilled. I know I have my perfect black pill outfit on right now, right? I have my perfect black pill outfit, but I haven't totally blackpilled. I think that there's always... I said this before January 6th, and God, did these words come back to haunt me. But I do think that there's always value in fighting. Now, of course, I don't mean fighting with violence. I never mean violence. I don't think violence is good. I don't think it's ever acceptable. If I had to form my own political party, these would be the tenets. No political violence, don't steal other people's stuff, and don't teach people they're racist. Like, those would probably be my only tenets. But I think that there is value in the fight. I do think that there's value in continuing to push back, but I think what I wish is that people were pushing back in much smarter ways. And I wish it was actually about trying to appeal to reasonable people. And I think that's what's really lacking. You know, I don't think I ever bought into the idea that, like, everything, like, all bad ideas came from the left, all good ideas come from the right. I don't think I ever got to that extreme. I've always said that I'm a liberal. I've always said that sometimes I go left on ideas, sometimes I go right on ideas. It really depends on the idea. And I want to believe that there is still hope to getting back to some sort of middle ground, or even just common sense, where I want to hope that, and I think I've seen this lately, I've been reaching out to people on the left to try to have these conversations to see what middle ground we can find, maybe from like a more populist perspective. I think there's more middle ground to be found with just like reasonable people on the left and reasonable people on the right. But goddamn, do the tribes make it difficult. I think if it's the biggest, there are several enemies that we're facing right now. Obviously the media. Media sucks. I think obviously big tech. Big tech sucks. But I'm going to say the third enemy is this political tribalism, where if you align with one of these groups, it suddenly becomes about defending the group to the death, even when the group is wrong. Even when they're wrong. I don't like AOC, but I think she's still a human being and should be treated with basic human compassion. And if we aren't going to do that for the people that we disagree with most, then why would we ever expect them to do it for us? So really, where does hope lie? I guess probably ourselves. I guess we can have hope in that we can always be in control of our own actions and what we're contributing to the situation. And though I spend probably more time than I should thinking about how people are screwing all of this up, how people on the left have done screwed it up, and now how people on the right are following in their footsteps and mimicking what they're doing admirably. I also kind of choose to believe that there is hope of the rational middle coming up and saying, we just want to be reasonable people and we don't want to fight all the time. And I don't want everything to be about outrage. And I don't want everything to feel like I have to choose a side when I don't agree with the way either side is acting right now. You know, a lot of people said to me, listen, I don't work for Walkaway. This is Brandon's thing. But a lot of people have said to me that they wish that Walkaway was about fighting political extremism. And that's just not on the left. It started with the left. That's on the right too now. But, you know, Brandon's off, taking care of his business. He's okay, by the way. He's taking care of his business. But we don't need this movement to act like reasonable human beings. We don't need this movement to, you guys don't need Brandon to guide everything. You can make the choice right now to act like reasonable human beings and to walk away from the political extremism on both sides if that's what you want to do. And I think that if we get enough people saying enough is enough, stop the nonsense on the right, stop the nonsense on the left, that's how we take this back. That's how there's hope. But we have to start being willing to speak up. We have to be willing to push back in reasonable ways. We have to know when we have crossed the line, when you are attacking someone as a result of like trauma from an assault. I have to choose my words carefully because I don't want this to get demonetized. But that she like, when you're attacking someone for that, that's too far, guys. It's too far. And we have to be the ones to pull ourselves back because no one's going to hold you accountable. And guess what, guys? The media on the right is no different than the media on the left. They want you outraged. They want you outraged for the next 4 goddamn years because that's what's going to make them money. It's no different. I'm sorry. It's no different. I don't care if you love Newsmax or OAN or whatever, or Post Millennial or, you know, all these freaking like, or Gateway Pundit or any of these right-wing things. I think that sometimes they do really good work. I'm not ragging on all of them, but they want you outraged just as much as MSNBC and CNN and all these other channels. It is in their best interest to keep this country divided. That is how they make money. So just don't buy into it. You have to make that choice. No one can make that choice for you. And if enough people make that choice, then I think there's hope. If people don't make that choice and they keep acting like fucking hooligans, I don't know where we go. I don't know where we go from there. So what am I going to do? I'm going to do what I can to manage the state that I am in. I'm going to do my very best. I'm fine. I really don't want anyone feeling sorry for me. I'm fine. Like, I have it better than most people out there. But I'm just going to keep moving forward, and I'm going to keep fighting the battles that I want to fight, and I'm going to keep pushing back where I think that it is necessary, and I'm going to keep calling out the BS on each side, and that's all I can really do. And if you wanna, you know, play with me on this ride, then you're more than welcome. And I hope you do, I guess. I hope the more people that we can get that are just interested in being reasonable human beings, the better. But to kind of sum up, if you're feeling down, like, you're not alone. You're not. And it's okay. And I think the thing that is going to help me get past it is by really focusing on what I think my purpose is, which is to encourage as best I can people to fight back against this woke nonsense and BS. I've got a really exciting thing that's happening that I cannot wait. I can't share it with you guys yet, but I can share it soon. So I'm really excited about that. But that's really all I can do, is to focus on what is a fulfilling purpose for me, what I think is the right thing for not only you guys, frankly, but also for like everyone. I don't think it's good that this woke crap is in schools. I don't think it's good that it's in the workplace. I don't think it's good that no one understands it. And so that's what I'm going to be working on and dedicating my resources to. And I guess my best advice is, like, if you're feeling down, figure out what you can do. Figure out what you can do to fight back, even if it's a little thing. You know, you guys rag on me because I say that you should keep your Twitter accounts. I'm not getting into that particular fight today because this is one of these stupid nonsense things that the right obsesses over that is a stupid nonsense thing. But the reason I say that is it's because, like, you have an anonymous Twitter account. That's like the bare minimum that you can do, man. I'm not talking about people who got banned on Twitter. That's a different thing. That's like the bare minimum you can do. Can't do that, find some other little thing you can do. Whatever. I don't really care. But it's about doing the little things. If you don't feel comfortable doing the big things, then do the little things. Do something. Do anything to prove to yourself that you can. Because if you aren't taking it upon yourself to do this, again, like, why are you waiting for people like me to do it for you? So that's where I'm at. That's my little unscripted talking for 25 minutes video. I don't know if this makes sense. I don't know if people are gonna be like, you're whining, whatever. Whatever. It's what I've got for today, guys. It's been a rough day, and I'm gonna do the best I can. Hopefully I'll have a little bit of a happier disposition tomorrow. But I hope you all take care of yourselves. And again, the biggest message I want to tell you is, like, if you're feeling down, it's okay. A lot of people are with you. You are not alone. You can join my locals, connect with a lot of people who are feeling down right now. I don't know. There's comfort in that. I went downstairs after the locals call last night. I said to Victor, I was like, you know what? This sounds horrible to say, but I'm kind of glad that a lot of people are depressed because there's comfort in that. And hopefully we can help each other and support each other and get through it together, because we're not going anywhere. We can't go anywhere. If we go somewhere, then hope is, like, really lost, and we don't want that. So guys, I'll wrap it up there. That's all I have for right now. I'll see you soon.